But it was terrific. And there's a drawing over in the corner, and it's called the Cricket Fans, I think, and they're clearly people in the Sheridan stand. And I think that if I look really, really closely, I could probably see Tom and I in that drawing. I think he would have done that, I'm sure. The only other thing I note about Tom was that he was the only man I know who actually lost money in real estate deals on every occasion, I have to say. He was, I think, unique. He bought, at one stage he bought a very old shop down in the main street in Braidwood. It was a lovely old building, and he lived there from time to time. The thing I remember mostly about it was, well, two things. First, it was bitterly cold, and secondly, the bathroom was surrounded by a series of panels, wood panels, and around the bath there were 8 wood panels, and Tom took on himself to paint each one of those panels with a lovely naked girl. And he'd reached that age when this was something that was obviously in his mind a lot, and three of those paintings are here. They're those paintings there. And this is the first time I've seen those since I was sitting in the bath with them all those years ago. So, anyway.
We'll arrange that for you, Chris. We'll get a bath down there so you go.
Yes, so there we are. Now, they were all those 3 artists were totally different individuals. Tom, in a way, was easy to know because he, as I say, he's full of character and he was eccentric. The others not quite so easy to know. Earle was, in fact, the first person who inducted me into the National Art School. As a senior head teacher there, it was his job to welcome and organise new young members of staff. And after he'd said hello, he then introduced me to his assistant, who was Maggie Spratt. Many of you will know and remember Maggie Spratt. And she took me under her wing and took me all round and showed me and introduced me to the wheres and wherefores of the National Art School. But Earle was quite different. He was very quiet, self-effacing, introspective in some respects, and more difficult to get to know. And over the years, I never really got to know Earle very well. But I just knew him as a teacher. I think he was very kind and indulgent and I think forgiving, very committed to his students. I only know this because in the staff room we would obviously discuss students, and Earle, even for the most hopeless creature, was always find a kind word to say about them, something encouraging. And that was how he was to everybody. I found Earle really very nice, a very nice, kind person. I didn't realise it, that he was in fact very deeply religious in a very quiet way, and I had no idea of that until one day he invited me to dinner to his house, and he lived up in Chatswood in a rather non-prepossessing little cottage with his mother, and he said, come up and have dinner. And I was surprised because he'd cooked the most beautiful roast dinner, meat and 3 veg, and then a flan with ice cream afterwards. And for a young bachelor, this was fantastic fare, and I really enjoyed it. He lived out there with his mother, and the only sad thing about the evening was that his mother complained throughout the meal about everything that Earle had cooked. I would have hit her over the head with it, but Earle, in his typical way, he seemed to have the patience of a Buddhist monk. He just took it all in his stride, and he said, "That's all right, Mother, that's okay, Mother," and and I thought, this is unbelievable that someone can be so sweet-natured as Earle was. He took me afterwards to have a look in his studio, to have a look at his work. He hadn't really got into watercolours at that stage, so he didn't show me watercolours. He showed me his etchings, which I really careful. I realised were of a very high quality, but the subject matter was very, it referred to his background in art history and his great knowledge of art history, and I just come off a farm in Sussex, and I really wasn't into it, you know, although this is the first time I've seen this one, and I somehow I have a memory of cleaning out the cowsheds. I don't know why that does that to me, but anyway. So I couldn't really respond to, and I'm not sure that endeared me to Earle for the forthcoming decades. I didn't realise that, as I said, that he was religious until I got into to his house, and there were obviously signs there of his connection to the church, including these beautiful icons that he developed an interest in, and they were lovely. We looked at those, and then it was that I was talking to Guy Warren, and he told me about the time when he met up with Earle in Paris, and Earle took him on a tour of all the churches and chapels in Paris, and explained the meaning of all the icons, all the reproductions of paintings and so on, and the meanings of all the colours, in fact, because as we know now, I know now, that all the colours used are very important in portraying religious icons and religious ideas.